It's this diversity that creates diverse learning environments and allows for the emergent patterns and the emergent functionality. So if a bank belongs to a long stretch of banks making risky loans, what's going to happen is they're frequently going to find out that there's this cascading failure and they've got to borrow money. They're going to learn to play it safe. Banks that are surrounded by safe banks are going to learn, hey, nobody fails, I might as well be risky. So suppose like you've got a bank, let's call it bank number 54. It makes a risky loan. If banks 53 and 55 didn't, if they made safe loans, then that bank is fine, the cascade stops. But if 53 and 55 made risky loans, then you're going to get this cascade that spreads out. And it's going to continue in both directions until we reach a bank that makes a safe loan. So what's going to happen in this complex system is we're going to get an emergent pattern. And that pattern is going to look as follows. We're going to see stretches of banks in a row, like 4 or 5, that make risky loans. And they're going to be surrounded by banks that make safe loans. This happens because a bank that's adjacent to 5 or 6 banks making risky loans doesn't want to make a risky loan because of the possibility of a cascade. So the result is this pattern: a group of risky banks, safe bank, group of risky banks, safe banks, and so on. This is incredible. What we're getting here is emergent firewalls. This is an emergent functionality. These safe banks are creating firewalls that prevent the entire banking system from failing, from this giant spread. Now, no one said to these banks, we want you to create firewalls. It wasn't like the FDIC or some government agency came down and said, we need you to put firewalls in here. The firewalls emerge naturally from the system, and what they do is they make the system robust. Okay, now this raises a great question. Does this mean we should just allow systems to evolve and eventually we're going to get robust outcomes? That everything wonderful is just going to emerge from the bottom up? It's great. That's a totally happy thought, but it's perhaps a bit naive. For these firewalls to emerge, the banks had to learn. That learning took place in a fixed environment, so we didn't allow the banks to change connections. In the real world of mergers and acquisitions with new financial instruments and so on, we've got no guarantee that good outcomes are going to emerge, that we're going to get the right firewalls. This is a point we're going to come back to in our final lecture. In complex systems, and this is a key point, the only thing we can really expect, right, we can't expect efficiency always, is the unexpected. What emerges in a system, whether it's slime molds, blinking lights, human cultures, or network of banks, is very hard to predict a priori. But those patterns, those structures and functionalities that do emerge are among the most wondrous parts of our world. Now, among the patterns that emerge are patterns of connections. This is true in the brain with neurons. It's true in social networks of people. Studying the emergence of network patterns is one of the hot new areas in complex systems, and it's where we're going to turn next.